Part 2 of this 3-part series in the Tradouw Pass covers the middle section from the 7th to the 10th kilometer. At the 7th kilometer mark, there's a very sharp left-hand bend with a gravel road leading off to the right. This is Thomas Bain's original road where it rose up the slope from the river valley. If you can find a safe place to stop, it's well worth admiring some of the original dry-packed stonework here. If you intend driving this pass, it's important to watch Part 1 first, which includes the Google Earth orientation clips, as well as other information relating to safety, historical and technical matters. This view site on the right-hand side of the road at the 7.2 kilometer mark offers excellent views of the original road, which can still be clearly seen just above the level of the Tradouw River. Both the old and the new road has suffered severe flood damage in its 130 plus years of existence, with several rebuilds being required. In 1979, a major rebuild took place, which was not only a huge engineering success, but also an environmental one. Much of Bain's original stonework has been preserved, and near the bottom of the pass at the modern curved Andries Ace Bridge over the Gats River, you will still find Thomas Bain's original timber 12-meter span bridge more or less intact. In 1867, Thomas Bain was sent out and surveyed the 13 kilometers of the route that same year. The chief overseer, Mr. C. Hendy, started operations with a small party in 1868 by building 2 convict stations, one at each end of the work, in readiness for the arrival of the main team, and also carrying out the essential prerequisite for all pass construction by opening up a bridle path through the kloof. Thomas Bain moved on to site in June 1869, and his family settled into the Barry farmhouse Lismore at the foot of the pass. The main body of convicts soon arrived, transferring from the newly completed Robinson Pass. Initially, Bain had about 300 convicts, but in subsequent years this number was reduced. Nonetheless, the work progressed well, and construction was well advanced when Bain was transferred in February 1873 to build a railway through Tulbach Kloof. An overseer, Mr. Stevens, carried the project through to completion. The pass was finished not long thereafter, and the opening ceremony was performed by the Governor Sir Henry Berkeley on the 27th of October 1873. These 2 side loops over ravines were both part of Bain's original road and were cleverly included in the modern road construction as picnic sites. A severe flood in 1875 washed away 500 meters of the road at the northern end of the pass, and this was rebuilt in 1879 to a higher level. Further flood damage in 1902 and 1906 resulted in a new line over this damaged section, raising it by 20 meters above the river. The pass was completely reconstructed in 1979, exactly 100 years after it was first opened. The decision to reconstruct and surface the pass was taken so as to provide an alternative surface link between the N2 and the inland Little Karoo route, and thus complete the planned trunk route system in this area. When planning the reconstruction of this historic pass, a number of considerations had to be taken into account, in addition to the normal engineering ones. The pass traverses a particularly scenic fynbos area which needed to be preserved from damage as much as possible. Every effort was made to retain the attractive old dry stone retaining walls, and where new reinforced concrete walls were necessary, these were stone-faced to provide a natural appearance and generally tone in with the old walls. Although the intention was to upgrade the existing road, several deviations had to be introduced to obtain the desired present-day standards. The most important of these required a fall through a side kloof, and this was retained by a gabion wall which merges more readily into the landscape than would a concrete structure. Safety barriers were needed where the road was sited along steep mountain slopes, and here stone-faced concrete walling was provided along the outer road edge instead of the usual metal guardrails. Another major consideration was the rapid revegetation of the areas exposed by the construction, with plant growth indigenous to that area. Extensive surveys were carried out, but the final line was often determined on site after consideration of the many factors involved. It was finicky work. The shifting of the line by relatively small amounts could both save money and enhance the final appearance and the environment. At the 10.2 kilometer point, there's a tightly radiused left-hand corner with a big view site on the right. It's extremely dangerous to cross the road to access the view site by car, as this is a blind corner. Continue just past the corner and you'll find this spacious parking area marked as Die Dripkelder. This translates into English as the dripping cellar. Here water drops down the cliffs over a moss-covered cave and it's permanently cool and wet. Be sure to watch part 3 of the magnificent Tradouw Pass.